You can be the biggest person on the planet with hundreds of millions of followers and enough power to shake the planet. But there is one rule that you never cross, and that is to insult Bruce Springsteen. Trump did that exactly and got roasted hard when Springsteen destroyed Trump by talking about his farting problem. Trump is now sitting in a corner and regretting his choices after getting roasted this hard. What did Trump say about Bruce Springsteen that has everyone riled up and going after Trump? And how did Springsteen respond to the entire situation? Let's find out together. First, let's have the best comic of our lifetime. The 45th President of the United States, Mr. Donald Trump, gives us some comic relief before he flips and loses his marbles.
We manned the airport. It ran the ramparts. It took over the airports. It did everything it had to do.
So that was him claiming that the Revolutionary Army took over the airports back in the 1700s?
Ah, yes, can always rely on old Trumpy to give us factual historical information and not fake information. The Wright brothers must be rolling in their graves right now. Anyways, just to establish who we are going to talk about, this is Donald Trump, and he is known to be one of the most moronic presidents of the USA. He has said some pretty dumb stuff.
Surrounded by water, big water, ocean water.
And will continue to say dumb stuff.
If you have a windmill anywhere near your house, congratulations. Your house just went down 75% in value. And they say the noise causes cancer. You tell me that one, okay?
As long as we give him a stage. But hey, I can't lie. It's entertaining at times. But no one ever thought that Trump, a pure-blooded American, which is highly debatable, would do something as dumb as going to New Jersey and saying that Bruce Springsteen, the legend and darling of New Jersey, is no one compared to him. Trump is either being really idiotic or really brave to go to Bruce's hometown and even try and compare himself with the singer. Trump has had some long-standing beef with artists in the music industry, as many of the most famous artists usually tend to be more liberal in their thinking and support, as the alternative is, you know, Trump. I'm pretty sure any other politician is better than Trump. Trump has always had issues switching artists like Beyoncé and Jay-Z, because they have always been publicly anti-Trump, so he always tries to pull them into his speeches and say that he can win without their help.
Jay-Z to fill up arenas, you know. We do it the old-fashioned way. We do it the old-fashioned way, folks. We fill them up because you love what we're saying and you want to make America great again. That's about it.
Just look at how cocky he is. His hate towards these artists comes from the fact that if he actually got endorsed by any of these artists, polling numbers would skyrocket, and he would become way more popular with important demographics like the youth. But of course, no person in their right mind would try and support someone as idiotic as Trump. Now, if you think calling Trump a moron is a bit of a stretch, let's just see one of the wonderful ideas that he has proposed to help combat the immigrant crisis.
Dana, I have an idea for you to make a lot of money. You're going to go and start a new migrant fight league. Migrants, only migrants. And then at the end of the year, the champion migrant is going to fight your champion. And I hate to tell you, Dana, I think the migrant might win. That's how tough they are.
Yes, Donald, let's put the impoverished refugee that's looking for a better life in the States to fight his way into citizenship. What kind of twisted maniac do you have to be to even remotely think this is a good idea? Whether it is a joke or not, it's amazing how he thinks these are good things to say as a former president and candidate for the elections. It would be a great idea if Trump was made to fight in a league to earn his exoneration from his hush money case. Now that is something I'd pay to watch. Trump is someone who is dangerous and should never be re-elected into office. He promises to be an absolute menace to society, even going so far as to say that he would be a dictator on day one and go back to being the benevolent and kind-hearted man that he is once he has had his fill of revenge against the people that voted him out of power in the 2020 elections.
For hardworking Americans, November 5th will be our new Liberation Day, but for the liars and cheaters and fraudsters and censors and imposters who have commandeered our government, it will be their Judgment Day. Their Judgment Day.
Yeah, I think it's time to pack your bags and keep them ready. In the event this guy comes back to power this year, I'm sure as heck not staying. Trump has been trying to rally support through the states for the upcoming elections. He has used tools like emotion, religion, and sympathy to garner votes. He first tried to gather support by playing to people's sense of patriotism and making it seem like he has America's best interests at heart. Then in the more southern states, he branded himself as a man of God and faith and marketed himself as such, and sadly so many people have fallen for it. Are we really going to forget that this is the guy who talked about women like objects and had an affair with an adult actress while his wife was pregnant?
Use some Tic Tacs just in case I start kissing her. You know, I'm automatically attracted to beautiful. I just start kissing them. It's like a magnet. You just kiss. I don't even wait. And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab them by the you can do anything.
Now, in addition to all of this, after the January 6th riots took place, Trump has used that momentum to make it seem like the people who were arrested during the Capitol raid were martyrs to the MAGA cause, even going as far as to honor them during his rallies.
Rise for the horribly and unfairly treated January 6th hostages.
At some rallies, men identified as the convicted rioters singing the national anthem are invoked as victims, even heroes.
I think I puked a little bit in my mouth after seeing that. How could you actually, in a reasonable way, justify the things those morons did on January 6, 2021? They literally tried to storm the seat of democracy and take it by force because their man-child of a leader kicked up a fuss from losing to a free and fair election, unlike his inordinately rigged one in 2016.
Now it is up to Congress to confront this egregious assault on our democracy. And after this, we're going to walk down, and I'll be there with you. We're going to walk down. We're going to walk down anyone you want, but I think right here we're going to walk down to the Capitol, and we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women, and we're probably not going to be cheering so much for some of them.
Trump is now trying to make moves again and get support the same way, but recently in his rally in New Jersey, Trump tried his tactic of dissing the musician of the state to show that he could win on his own, but this time it horribly backfired. He went after Springsteen and said that his rally had attracted more people than any Bruce Springsteen concert ever could. But before he got to Bruce, he, of course, staying true to fashion, had to go on some random tangent that made absolutely no sense and started talking about the Silence of the Lambs.
Say the Silence of the Lambs. The late, great Hannibal Lecter is a wonderful man. He oftentimes would have a friend for dinner. But Hannibal Lecter, congratulations, the late, great Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is then, after this moment, Trump would go on to commit one of the gravest sins you can ever commit on the shores of New Jersey, and that is, make fun of Springsteen.
I love these Saturday evenings. Is there anything better than a Trump rally? If some of these wackos came along, you know, these liberal singers said, actually vote for me. You know, they all vote for me. They say, oh, Trump, I don't know. You know, like Bruce Springsteen. We have a much bigger crowd than Bruce Springsteen, right? Much bigger.
He claims that the rally that he hosted in New Jersey apparently has been able to draw an even bigger crowd than Springsteen ever could. He claimed that there were about 100,000 people there, although the count came up to only 80,000, but the crowd in reality looks way smaller as well. Many of the Springsteen fans in the crowd immediately flipped and showed how tiny the crowd actually was.
He was referring to Bruce Springsteen and said, you know, like Bruce Springsteen. We have a much bigger crowd than Bruce Springsteen, right?
Bruce Springsteen. We have a much bigger crowd than Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah, much bigger crowd than Bruce Springsteen.
I'm sure he's a nice guy. How about Chris Christie? You said, I love Bruce Springsteen. And then
Yeah,
throw him
much
out of
bigger
the
crowd.
concert. When somebody
Much
throws
bigger
out of a
crowd.
concert, you shouldn't love them.
Yeah,
You sort of say, I don't
but
like
there's
that.
like a huddle towards the stage.
Trump was once again trying to oversell the amount of people that were present at the rally rather than actually there. This isn't the first time he's tried to oversell the actual number of people there. Trump's support numbers are dwindling, and it is becoming difficult to accept the 78-year-old orange. He much rather preach to empty seats than accept the fact that no one is coming out to support him. Insane. Anyways, once he made this comment, about every comic in the U.S. began ridiculing Trump for his stupid decision to go after the icon.
At one point, Trump called Bruce Springsteen a wacko. And he claims that he draws a bigger crowd than him. I'm pretty sure if you're attacking Bruce in Jersey, you're the wacko. Who wins in that situation? Yeah, apparently 100,000 people showed up for the rally in Jersey. Here's the breakdown of the crowd. People, 100,000. Sleeves, 0. Barbed wire tattoos, 200,000.
Jimmy is absolutely right. Going after Springsteen in Jersey is the same as just putting a bounty on your head. But what does Bruce think about Trump? Well, let's just say that ever since Trump announced his campaign in 2016, Bruce has been very vocal about the fact that he worries about what a Trump administration would do to this country.
Monday, Bruce Springsteen was interviewed by Marc Maron's podcast WTF, and during his interview he discussed his negative opinion of U.S. President-elect Donald Trump. He stated he did not know whether or not Trump is simply competent enough to be President of the United States. During the 2016 election, Springsteen supported Hillary Clinton and openly expressed how he is a Democrat. In the interview, he said he's made his goal to do his very, very small part in keeping up America's morals while Donald Trump is President of the United States.
Springsteen even went as far as during the COVID-19 pandemic to call out the president and tell him to wear a mask through the way he knows best: music.
One to the man sitting behind the resolute desk. With all respect, sir, show some consideration and care for your countrymen and your country. Put on a mask.
Springsteen is firm on where he stands. After this interview in 2016, Trump tried to take a jab at Springsteen whenever he could. This never affected Bruce, and he has been very vocal in his support for Joe Biden and the Democratic Party throughout the 2020 elections, and it has always rubbed Donald the wrong way. Bruce stated that Trump is a horrible choice for the leader of the nation and had no idea what it meant to be an American.
And I didn't need Beyonce and Jay-Z. And I didn't need little Bruce Springsteen and all of these.
He was implying that other people need to have all that help. He doesn't need that. And so he's going back to 2016. This is now 2019. Are you surprised that he's trash talking you after all this time?
Not really.
Yeah.
Anything's possible.
I know. I mean, a lot of people are very concerned about the direction of the country.
It's just frightening. You know, we're living in a frightening time. The stewardship of the nation has been thrown away to somebody who doesn't have a clue as to what that means. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, we have somebody who I feel doesn't have a grasp of the deep meaning of what it means to be an American.
Springsteen has never held back in his criticisms of Donald Trump and has made sure to be as neutral as he can while calling out his nonsense, but even Bruce knows that sometimes with Trump, you just can't make an idle comment and let it slide.
He knows that. He knows he's going to lose. And he's such a flagrant, toxic narcissist that he wants to take down the entire democratic system with him if he goes. If he could reflect on these things, maybe he'd have, but he's such an unreflective person. And he simply has no sense of decency and no sense of responsibility about him. And the words that he's been using over the past several weeks really are an attack on the entire democratic process.
And is that dangerous?
Yeah, it is.
While Trump has been throwing temper tantrums and trying to show that he can do everything on his own, Bruce has been able to thoroughly dismantle each of Trump's lies and expose them for what they are. Well, dear viewer, if you have watched this far, let us know which has been your favorite comment about Trump by Bruce Springsteen down in the comments.